Well, hi there, it's gothatfunk, and a video response to my friend Bossman103 and his question, which I don't think was actually aimed at me particularly, but he was saying to name 5 things that might constitute evidence of God or proof of God. Now, I'm reminded of a quote by, I think it's Arthur C. Clarke, who said that any technology that's sufficiently advanced would be indistinguishable from magic to people who, didn't understand the technology. And with that in mind, I'm also reminded of a video I did, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago, called An Atheist Question for Atheists, in which I posited the question, what if we got out into interstellar space and we found another civilization on another planet, um, and then another, and then another, and all of those planets were populated with beings which were, for all intents and purposes, human beings. I mean, they followed their own evolutionary path. There's no like sprinkling of the human genome or anything like that, but they followed their own evolutionary path. And at the time we contacted them all, everyone looked human. And would that constitute evidence of God? And I was interested because most people said that it wouldn't constitute evidence of God, but it's so fantastically impossible. That was my point, though. The point is, it's so fantastically impossible for such a thing to happen that if it did happen, would you think, maybe there is some kind of design going on here? You know? Anyway, but so I'm reminded of the response to that, and I think you could apply that sort of response to my ideas here about what might constitute proof of some kind of divine entity. Now, obviously, it depends on what sort of attributes you want to prescribe to the Godhead. But I'm just going to tell you what would make me definitely scratch my head and pause to reconsider my position as a non-believer. Now, what would constitute evidence to me would simply be not good enough. I would have to find something that, I mean, because evidence is always going to be way too open to debate. If I was even going to consider actually believing that some sort of uh, divine entity existed, which had some sort of, uh, way of manifesting itself in the physical, I would expect that entity to be able to do something like, for example, be in many places at one time, independently verifiable by both human beings and technological means. So there's no sense of just tricking people's perceptions. Um, I would, if somebody could snap their fingers and move the moon from one side of the planet to the other side of the planet instantly, I would be hard pressed to think that was technologically done, and I would probably just presume that it was in some way done by some kind of superpower being. Just, uh, again, the whole technology. I mean, if you're prepared to concede that a being might be able to do that as an act of will, you need to be prepared to concede that some sort of technology might be able to be produced by some sort of more intelligent species which could do the same thing. So you're never going to get out of that one. I mean, how can you prove that there's God? Well, like I say, if some one person could manifest themselves multiple places at the same time and speak to people all over the world at the same time, and everyone could see the same thing in the same way, but in their own languages and whatever. I think that'd be pretty cool, pretty convincing, or certainly make me pause. But I really can't think of that much else. I mean, if you want to rearrange the stars, so that when we wake up tomorrow, all the constellations are different. Stuff like that, it would be pretty hard to fake. Um, But beyond stuff like that, I mean, if you're talking about little things like personal miracles or anything like that, no, I wouldn't buy any of that kind of evidence. That to me isn't even evidence. I've seen things I can't explain. It doesn't mean I believe in God, though. I think there's always an explanation. Just because you can't think of it doesn't mean there isn't one. And again, that is where I should end it right now, because there's always going to be alternative explanations for no matter what evidence or proof might be presented. So it's it's inevitable that there's going to be skepticism and therefore non-believers. And I think we should just accept that and try to get along. So that's my 2 cents. This has got that funk. Thanks for watching, and may all your ups and downs be ups.